Mother, mother, there's far too many of you crying. And brother, 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 there's far too many of you dying. Lord, you know we've got to find a way to bring some loving here today. Father, Father, we don't need to escalate. A war is not the answer, but only love can conquer hate. You know we've got to find a way to bring some loving here today. Picket lines and picket signs. Don't you punish me with brutality. Come on and talk to me so we can see what's going on. What's going on? What's going on? I'll tell you what's going on. Oh, yeah. Whoa, whoa, whoa. What's going on, people? Yeah. What's going on? Everybody thinks we're wrong, but who are they to judge us? Simply because we wear our hair long. You know we've got to find a way to bring some understanding here today. Picket lines and picket signs. Don't you punish me with brutality. Come on and talk to me so we can say what's going on. What's going on? What's going on? I'll tell you what's going on. Hey, what's going on, people? Yeah. Oh, what's going on? What's going on? Going on? What's going on? What's going on? What's really happening?
Perfect, yeah. So we ready.
Our young people dying. Our mothers crying.
That's cool.
Brothers in jail for a crime they never
my music
committed.
off to this guy.
What's going on? We are still carrying picket signs today for justice.
Where's Earl working?
The more things change, the more they stay the same. What's going on? Now I'm taking note, and you want my vote? What's going on? It ain't gonna happen. What's going on, people? We gotta come together.
We're doing the holidays.
And recognize
Yeah, we're gonna have to.
That this world
Something
is
happened with
What's
this,
going on?
and I couldn't remember my Apple ID.
If
So I gotta
things
go to
are
what's
to
his name with this.
change,
I gotta go to
we have to change.
yeah, they gotta help me
What's
with this.
going on?
Or T-Mobile. Now we can go to this one because we can go to the one that
My mister is sweet. My mister is kind. My mister is remarkably fine. My mister oozes confident, intelligent, and strength. Yeah, 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 yeah. My mister, I got to have you. My mister, you're all I need and more. Baby. He's thoughtful, insightful, and faithful, so true. He always knows just what to do.
you dancing tonight.
Hey, that's my mister. That's my mister. I love him, adore him, my mister. That man of mine, my mister. He's so fine. I got to have you. I got to have you, darling, my mister. Hey, honey, you're all I need and more, baby. I love the way he strokes my face, pulls me close in such a tender embrace. Hey, that's my mister. He kisses my eyes and then my mouth. That man, he's smooth, makes me hey, that's my mister.
You gotta know it anyway. Got it too. Justice and fact.
As he lays me down and prepares for love, I quiver and whimper.
Right.
Don't you stop. Our passion
Right.
is
But
real
you know they're
high.
getting ready to open up a 500.
I can hardly keep still. He gives my body.
One of the biggest places to grow.
He's my man. You're all I need and more, baby. Oh, that's my mister,
Wow.
my darling. Chub, chub, baby. My mister.
Don't you give nothing away. Because he can make 5 million. He can make 5 million just like that. Wow. Dang. Oh, wow. He gonna sell it. Right. How long did it take him to get it?
You are my baby, my darling, my love. You are music to my ears.
What you think? Break into it.
You are the beat of my heart. You are my joy, my peace, my love. You are the place my life starts.
Good evening and welcome to Here's the Light with Zemrah and Ed. I hope you have been enjoying some of my wonderful music, if I must say so myself, from Love is Possible CD. I want you to like us on Facebook. Go to all the streamings, Amazon. What is it? Lord have mercy, I done went blank. Spotify. Thank you, baby. Spotify. I said Amazon and Pandora. Just all of them that's streaming. We're on YouTube. You can check out some of my videos, some of my shows on YouTube. Just go to Zemrah's Music. It'll all pop right up. So I hope you have enjoyed the selections, what's going on. And we've been getting some great feedback about this CD. And just wanted to, we're still working on some other things, working on coming out probably in, I'd say, early November, well, end of October, early November with my Christmas CD. Just going to have a couple of my favorite songs on a couple of in particular, one that was written by Pam, Christmas Cheer, and then a couple other songs that I like. But the Christmas Cheer will be original. So we're looking forward to, as I said, doing a lot of great things are coming up that I'm working on, and just looking forward to some great outcomes. Yeah. Yeah, we were putting a lot of our things, our bigger things for 2022, letting some things kind of taper down, and got some great things going though. You know what I say, keep it moving. So that's what we want to do. We want to keep it moving. The time just flies, but I did want to share some of my music with you, kind of consistent this evening. So again, we welcome you to our show where we thank Earl and Wanda for giving us this platform to be able to share a lot of good things with you, some of our thoughts, food for thought, and so we can just, keep things going. And one of the things that we were talking about earlier, Ed and I was talking about earlier, was wow, these taxes, home taxes are going up. They're starting to, they got to have a whole bunch of money. And so they're going to make us be responsible, which I think is awful. They always get the little people. So that's what, because when they even mentioned about the taxes going up in Harvey and Markham, yeah, well, the little people are just easy to get to.
And they can't complain.
Yeah, who can't complain?
The little people. They don't pay any attention to that. The big people, the ones don't pay taxes.
Right. Well, these are property taxes that they're getting ready to go up on. We already know about what they do with the IRS taxes and all that, but I'm talking about these property taxes going up. And what is so bad about it, when you look at it, the property taxes are going up, but the value of the house is not. Because one of my close friends is in real estate, and she said it's just the real estate market is just awful. So if you're kind of watching the statistics and watching how things are going, it's not too good. And it's really not too good in the housing market right now, even for buying.
The devaluation of property in our neighborhood has been going on for years.
Well, yeah.
We've always devalued our property much lower than the average market.
Yeah. So you're talking about how you're talking about property taxes going up, but yet the property, the value of the property is just not there. It's going down. So that's why a lot of people they're saying this isn't even really a good market to even buy because of that. It's just not. And a lot of your agents are saying, man, they're going and bidding and all of that. And then that can't nobody, they just can't sell because the prices are just not where they need to be. So even with the bidding, people are just not, they're opting out.
Well, you might as well because you're not getting what the value what the property is worth
Right.
because it's been so devalued.
Right. And then one of the things too that we want to talk about quickly, since we're talking about property, is making sure that when you buy, that you make sure that if there is, make sure that there's not a water problem. The flooding, the area with flooding, and the landmark of the property has not gotten water, because a lot of times these people, they're supposed to disclose, but they don't. And then you wind up with a lot of issues that can be very, very costly to you. And that's why when you find sometimes people are selling their property so fast, and then if you don't really have a good real estate agent, you wind up with some, or have a real estate agent, might I say, that is walking and talking with you for your interests. You want to make sure that you're on top of that, because Ed and I, we've experienced where we made the mistake of selling a house with the same agent that purchased, and that was not a smart idea. I mean, it was back in about 28 years ago, but still. It's the same game. She was introduced to us and winded up whatever, but we made an error with that, and they winded up looking out for the person that we were buying the house for rather than us. And so because they used the person that we were purchasing the house for. I mean, they just cleaned up, really.
Well, you have to concentrate on getting a reputable house inspector too,
right?
Looking out for you to make sure he examines everything about the house rather than working for the seller.
Absolutely, across the board. Just make sure that you have someone that is working and looking out for your interests. But definitely don't, if you're purchasing, get somebody different. Selling, get somebody, don't get the same person unless it's someone that you really are comfortable with, you really and truly know. And we had never used lady, and it just was not a good, it wasn't good.
Because in the long run you're going to lose big time.
Yeah, so just make sure that, and make sure that whatever needs to be disclosed, that it is all disclosed, and don't let anybody really force you into doing something that you're not comfortable with. Because these people are out for commission and commission only, and that's the name of the game. They are, and especially right now with the pandemic, people are out to make money. They don't have no mindset, no concern about how it can hurt you.
Disclosing everything.
Yeah, it's not about that. It's about making that commission. And that's one thing that when you're choosing someone to represent you, make sure, we want them always to make money. That's what they're there for, and that's what they work for. But you want to make sure that it's fairly done and that it is not at your expense.
Correct.
Because one of the things too that you have to be careful with is these modifications. These modifications are not what we think they are. They are to make money as well, because what they're doing a lot of times is they're making you think, because your mortgage payment might go down, but then they're putting it on the back end of the loan, and then you wind up still paying anyway. And then what you can experience also, and what they've done, is they will take a modification and make it bearable. And then instead of them modifying it, it becomes where they make it bearable. So the interest rate keeps going up, and you look up and you wind up paying more. They wind up making it in other words, they are refinancing a modification. And so you wind up doing another 30 years. And then every time they do that, they wind up adding, they refinance it. In other words,
and every time they do that, they make a commission.
They do, and they do.
Yeah,
and then you wind up with another 15 to 30 years. And so you wind up with your mortgage wind up going up anyway, and it winds up going up. and you're older, and then you find yourself paying even a higher mortgage. So it really and truly, modifications, be mindful, especially to seniors. We have to be really mindful of these modifications because they become a band-aid, and that's it. And then after you think that you got a little healing, then it winds up busting open again. So you just be mindful of modifications. They're not
in other
helpful.
words, before you do anything, call this station and talk to us and call it Intellectual Radio, and we will give you a heads up on everything you need to know before you make that major purchase.
Yeah. And then one thing that I will say too, before you make a purchase and before you do modifications, make sure that you deal with an attorney. That is very important. And again, a lot of times we cannot always afford attorneys. So we try to go with what the real estate agent has to say, or whoever, the HUD, or whoever helping you with the modifications. And we try to work out this stuff on our own because the attorneys can wind up killing you too.
No,
so
well,
it just
at that time when you did from the initial purchase of a house, any cost that incurred by you is moved over into the expense of the loan, which means that you should do everything you can to get everything right and pay whatever it takes to pay a professional to look out for your interests.
Absolutely.
That's what you should do. You forget about what it's going to cost you because it's going to cost you more if you don't get it right.
Right, but you can't always say forget it, Ed, because the point I'm saying is that a lot of times we don't have money to pay attorneys, and that's why we try to work it out on our own.
Yeah, but you can work that into the cost of the house. Because the attorney is going to cost you a lot less than getting ripped off.
Yeah, but it just always depends. The main thing is again what we always try to provide is again food for thought, giving you some knowledge as to just to be mindful and to be watchful, because everyone that says that they are working on your behalf, that would be a no.
And take some of the emotion out of the game, because you go get a house and you really like it, you'll start falling in love with the house and forget about the details.
Yeah.
The details count, because they will come back and bite you.
You don't want to buy a house that you don't fall in love with. Now, that's the purpose of buying one. You just want to be mindful of the technical part of it.
Right. I mean, after you fall in love with it, then start looking at the details.
Right. Because the detail, if you don't watch the details, it can be a hindrance, and it can be it can cause some critical.
Upon closer inspection, it might not look as good as you think.
Yeah. Right. Because they do add little details here and details here that make you think there has not been any water and there's not been.
No, they hide it because they got a major crack in the foundation. They're going to hide it. They plaster over it and paint over it.
And if you don't know,
because they don't disclose it.
Right. And if you don't know, you're up a creek without a paddle.
Right.
So we want you to just kind of, again, just food for thought. And then while we're talking about homes and all, Ed and I was talking something that I think about, and then you have to really and truly, when we always talk about gratitude and feeling blessed, and we do, because to not be, this is America the Great, and it is unbelievable the amount of people that are homeless. It is heartbreaking. I know I was talking to Emmanuel, our MMA fighter, and he was talking about all the homeless people in Wisconsin, because that's where he stays now, with his with the group that he trains with. And he was just talking about how many homeless people that there are, and this is America. When I look and I think, bless you, Wanda, when I think about that, I mean, because every time we walk into our home, our door, we just say, thank you, God. Because when you look and you see how many people, and really and truly, it look like it's gotten worse since the pandemic, because people are standing up, look like in every few blocks or everywhere, they're standing up there with signs, homelessness. Now, you got some people, this is their job. And that's what makes it bad for those that are really and truly homeless. So again, you got to be able to cipher out and be able to determine. But then sometimes it's done so well you cannot determine. But if it's in
Well,
your heart, like me, I'm gonna always try and give something. Then you just
there
do it.
are some keys if you look, if you have sharpened your power of discernment,
Yeah.
you can tell when somebody who's actually homeless, someone who's not. There's a couple of people in our neighborhoods who are there on a regular basis, and I can tell they're not homeless. Not when you have a fresh hairdo and you just got a fresh perm and you got your hair all combed back like you home. You're not homeless.
Yeah.
No, no.
Well, you know you reap what you sow on that kind of stuff, and that's just not cool. So you don't want to eat stuff there or go there. But it's just amazing because I was at the and then the average life expectancy of a homeless person, they usually live to about 50 years old.
That's
Can you
about it.
imagine that?
Well, if you go 20 years or 10 years on the street without any type of health care, and you develop any type of symptom, or you don't get any care, your life expectancy is going to be very short.
I mean, like last week, was it last week? I think one day last week, um, I had ran to the north side. I had to run to the north side, and I saw this guy, and I mean it was hot as Hades that day,
Mhm.
and he was in a wheelchair, and he had plastic bags, but he also had plastic over his head. And so I'm saying now I know this is not protecting him from the heat.
Was
So
he expecting rain?
I don't know what he was expecting, but I was saying, wow, he got all this black that looked like the black plastic heavy bags,
Hmm.
had it over his shoulder, but up over his head. And I'm saying that's got to be. I mean, it almost just brings tears in your eyes. And then, so this is what is amazing: 39.8% of homeless persons are us,
Oh, okay. 40%. So
are
less than
African
half. Yeah,
Americans.
less than half. But we are smaller numbers too.
But so
Among
smaller numbers, that makes it even
it
worse.
is. It
That we are
is.
39.8% homeless. And then 61% are men and boys.
Oh,
And ladies wonder where in the world are our men
unemployed and homeless.
unemployed and homeless. And then again, we talk about the veterans and the condition that they are up under, and how you see so many veterans out here that have fought for our country, and they are standing up there with
Well, see,
signs and homeless and hungry.
that is why I'm glad to see that President Biden has implemented a plan I talked about for years. I said, if you gave people money, if you live in a country that developed the money, that kind of uh, income off of the resources of the country, then that money should go to the people to provide them with the services that they need, whether they work or not. There should be a ground floor which should not go beneath it. In other words, like I said, give everybody $2,000 a month. Oh, that'll make people lazy. No, it won't. The people that will do nothing are like 80%. 20% of the people always do all 80% of the work.
80% is a lot of
I
people,
know it
Ed,
is
not
a lot
doing
of people,
nothing. And you
but
got jobs up here now
that
that you
will
can negotiate.
yeah, but that will grow over time when people get used to it because the person's attitude and their feeling is that they want to work. It's built into the human nature to want to contribute to society that supports them. It's a village mentality, but they don't always do that because they've been taught, that you can get stuff for free, or you work too hard anyway, so they owe you, or the world owes me, so they don't want to do it. But the people that 80% of those people are going to be those people, but that does not negate the fact that in society you should take care of all people. There should be no homeless people.
Absolutely
I don't
not.
care what their attitude is and what they will not do. You will not have a reason to be homeless because I'll make sure that you at least have something to eat, something to wear, and a place to stay. Because that's what the rest of society, those of us who uh, do all the work, want to make sure that my sisters and brothers are at least not in the streets. That's
So
what
I do all the I
it
work,
doesn't
and then
matter. Go
because you're
ahead.
getting $2,000
You don't have
a
you don't have
month.
to work. It, that's fine. But I do not want to see people on the street.
Oh, absolutely. Now that's what we're talking about.
So
But I'm saying that you're getting a
so that's
stimulus for $2,000,
yeah.
and then you can get a job making $5,000. No, I don't agree with that.
2,000 is just enough for some people. That mentality doesn't go beyond 2,000.
And but that's not healthy,
Yeah,
nor is it good.
but it's a reality. The majority of the people that you know, that's their mental. They have reached the level of their expectation, and that's it.
No, I don't. The people I know, they work.
No, I'm just saying not just you. I'm just talking about the majority of people in your life as a whole, as a society. You work every day, well, but that's good, and you making much more than minimum wage. But the people who
They ain't gonna
making
work under that at this stage of my
but
development.
there are some people who got to work 2 or 3 jobs just to make a living.
Yeah, but they don't have to do that now, because the point I'm making right
That's
now
That's
is
now.
the real blessing is, okay, so you get, and that money's not going to last. They're not going to keep doing
No,
that. That's
no.
not indefinite. But the thing that I'm saying, first of all, you're not being an example for your children. You're getting this little $300 or $400, but you're not being an example for your children to show them responsibility and the value of working.
But
Because
you can-
when you work, you're able to get the
But
things
you
that you
can
want
do
and
that.
desire.
You can still do that if you are surviving. If you are surviving without an effort, and you still want to progress and teach your children the work ethic.
But when you say
You can
without
do
an
that.
effort, I don't understand that, because the quality right now, jobs are so plentiful that you can negotiate what you want to make.
That's
Well, now, yes, I want this job, but now you're saying you starting at 35,000 a year. Let's make that 45 or 50. I mean, they're taking because jobs are. I mean, they're begging people to work. Salaries are negotiable now, so the wise thing to do is to work. Take that job and work. People are turning down jobs. They're not being responsible. I'm even surprised. Even a lot of your contractors.
Why do you think that is?
Why do I think it is?
Mhm.
I think because it's a sense of laziness.
No,
Because now I can get this money finally, and so the laziness is coming out.
I tend to disagree.
Okay.
I disagree because it is in a person's nature to work for what they want. They don't want much. Their expectations are low. And if
And you think that's good?
No, but if you give them just enough to exist on,
That's not good.
Some people, that's all they want to do is exist.
And you think that's good enough?
It's not. But that mentality will die along with that attitude. As long as once you have a society where your existence is guaranteed, and it is also taken for granted that I'm going to exist. All I need to do now is progress. Progress is what I'm raised to do, and to exceed what we are right now, and to make something else out of myself. But the danger of being homeless has been erased. The danger of having not food to eat is not a concern anymore.
But that's not because of the fact that if you're going to settle with $2,000 or $3,000 a month, which some of them are getting about 9, if depending on how many kids they got, but that's not something that's going to be ongoing. So you have to prepare, and if you're not preparing, that can be a problem, and then it makes you feel like
exactly.
Yeah, so that's the point I'm making.
Okay.
So to say that will erase homelessness, to me, you're setting yourself up for homelessness doing it that way.
Well, then you get what you deserve. If you're not prepared for that, and you give an opportunity to correct it, and you won't do it, then that's what you get. But you always, as a society, must make a plan to make sure that there's an opportunity not to be homeless or hungry.
Because
because we're going to erase hunger, period. Whether you work or not, you will not be hungry. You will not starve to death in this country, and you will not be on the street with no place to stay.
Okay, and you basing that on what?
Human nature. Basically, in fact, I'm going to make sure, because I'll make sure the government who collects your taxes will give that money back to you so that you don't be hungry or homeless.
Okay, so
I'm going to make sure that that's not going to happen. Now, what you do after that is what is your business. You're going to have to work to achieve more than that. But if you're satisfied with just a bare minimum in life, that's an attitude. That attitude will die over time, and people will automatically say, "Well, I'm going to try to make something of myself, but I'm not going to think about where I'm going to eat or if I'm going to be out in the streets." That's the thing of the past. And it will be, and it'll be out of people's mentality. But it has to die. Right now, these people will take advantage of that and do nothing.
Okay, because we're talking about 20% of homeless persons are kids.
So with kids, they have nothing
That's
to
why
do
we're
with it.
talking
The
about.
children is not responsible for that.
Oh, absolutely. But that's why I'm saying that if 61% are men and
Single,
boys that are homeless,
but most of these people are
that's why
single.
you have to show responsibility and show our children to be responsible. If you want a long life, you want to be have a good life and a healthy, wealthy life,
But all
you
the
got to
things
have
that
some
you,
direction.
but all the things you're talking about is learned and taught behavior, which is
Well,
may,
that's the only thing to
which
talk
may,
about is what
yeah,
has to
yeah,
be
but
learned and taught.
which may or may not have been taught by the parent who may have been homeless too or incapacitated in other ways.
Okay, so what would make you think that 61% of homeless persons, what would cause 61% of men and boys to be homeless? And men are usually supposed to be the breadwinners.
Because
What,
they,
what
because they were never been the breadwinners in the first place. Because they were never taught by a man in the house, or they never came from a broken home, or a lot of other different reasons for that matter. But they never got that training. They never was taught that responsibility or the ability to respond to the
because that's
state.
a lot. 61%.
About 60% of all marriages fail. That's another endangered institution. 60% of marriages fail. So that kind of coincides with the homeless rate. Because if you're a single male and you don't have a job and you lost everything, you'd be homeless too. In about a month, you won't have no place to go, especially if you're
But
relative.
why? I mean, why
Because
would
we
you?
have not developed a society that cares about the other person like they are us. I would not allow somebody in my city or in my country to be homeless, whether they worked or not. They would not have that image of my people being homeless or hungry. Now, whatever you do after that is your business. You want to progress past that, which everybody will, because that's human nature. But the ability to live and have life abundantly, you can abundantly, that's your responsibility. But just to live at all and not to be homeless or hungry, that's society's problem.
But when you just made the comment that if you're married and they've taken and I guess the woman has taken it all, what would keep you from? I mean, hopefully you would still be working,
Well,
and
we've had
so based
professional,
on that,
there have been professional people who have been homeless.
yeah.
Circumstances in their life that happened that they just found themselves without a job, without an income, lost everything in the bank. Their spouse or the breadwinner left them, and they had no relatives. So they wind up in a home, or they wind up in what do you call it? Overnight place or a place where
Shelters,
they
shelters.
wind up in a shelter,
Mhm.
and then the shelter says we only keep you so long if you don't have any children, and then you have to get out of here, and you have no place to go. So you wind up on the street, and you wind up with street people that are your company or in the same condition you are, and you
And so
start
they
you
find
find
themselves being comfortable.
no, they find themselves being related to other people who they form a family with because they're all in the same condition.
Right. So that's what I said. So they become comfortable. You're
That's not
saying?
not comfortable. Just people that you can relate to. Just your family which you never had, or just replace the family you did have, and you start forming relationships with them because you have the shared difficulties
I just think
or the
that
shared challenges. And some people, who once you've been on the street so long, it becomes your lifestyle, and you wouldn't know what to do if you had a apartment or a place to stay and responsibility like working. Because a lot of people that even Oprah did. She took a homeless person off the street, gave them a job, gave them a place to stay, and gave them money. 2 years later, they were back on the street homeless because that was their lifestyle. That was their mentality.
That's why I said, that's what I'm asking you. Do they become comfortable?
The mentality will teach you that if you allow it to. Everybody doesn't think that way, but some people go right past this. I'm not going to stay here. I'm out of here.
Right. I don't see where you should let that define
You
what your
shouldn't,
life can be.
but
It
if
just
you never
depends, I
had
guess,
hope-
on your own drive.
But if you never had hope in the first place, you don't know how that works.
Now, that's true.
If nobody ever taught you how to struggle or how to overcome difficulties or challenges, you don't know how to do that.
Because struggle don't have to last always.
No, it don't.
Right.
And it makes sense to you and I, yeah. But to a person who's never been taught that, you can't blame a child for something they've never been taught.
You fall down, you get up.
Yeah, but they didn't teach them that. Society told them if you fall down, you blame somebody. You talk about society, you talk about your parents, you talk about your experiences, you talk about anything, but the fact that it's up to you to get up.
It is.
But that was never taught. So my ability to fly was never taught to me, even though I was born with wings. But nobody showed me, or I never saw anybody else do it. So maybe I can't fly either.
Yeah, because one thing that I find is that like my mom always taught us, every tub stands on its own bottom.
Yeah.
You know, you have to understand that life will throw you some curves, life will do you in, but it's the end results that you have to work with and understand that you cannot let that define what your future will be.
We just need more of that as an example for other people to see, because they're not getting it out of their home or their people or their relatives. But if they see you next door doing that and getting up every day going to a job that barely gets by, but getting by is better than doing nothing,
right?
Then that's what you do. They have to see it. Young boys have to see a man taking care of his family and working every day, or starting a business, or doing the chores, or not arguing and fighting and blaming his wife and the kids for his condition.
Like you have a handy guy that works a lot of times that you pay to do little things, and it helps him. And he's a senior. And how old is he?
He's about 70.
Yeah, and I mean, and he's hungry. I mean, he's always willing to work and keep busy and do things, and you don't really and truly mind helping him. I mean, because he struggles, right?
Yeah, but I was taught, and he was taught the same way, that if you ask, it will be given. But if you don't ask and you don't make a move, if you don't move first, you really don't have anything coming.
Right.
And
Well,
I mean, it may
not.
sound a little cold, but you got to make the first move. You got to make the first step.
You were saying too that he has a lot of pride too.
Yeah, but most men do. But the ones that do have it, you don't mind helping, because he don't want to ask anybody for anything. He might not have nothing, but he really hates to ask for anything, because he sees himself as responsible. Plus, he's had a hard time. He's gone through a lot of change in his life, and it has affected him emotionally and spiritually and mentally.
Yeah.
So, and you can see that. But that doesn't
take away that he's a hard-working little old man.
He works.
Yes.
And anybody who does that, I can appreciate it, and I respect that.
Right.
And I would help them in any way I can.
Yes.
Because you have to make an effort in life. If you don't make an effort, no one is responsible for you at all.
Right.
No one is guaranteed to give you anything. So if you make the first move, as God said that, you take one step, I'll take two.
Yes. But this homelessness, it's
a mentality.
Haunts me. It's just terrible.
Society does not address it as our problem. The society as a whole does not accept that, because it's run by individuals and certain sects of people who stay in their own sect.
Yeah, because they even have 42% of street children identify as LGBT. Now, that was amazing too.
They're confused. They're like the
42%.
Look at this. People wonder why in the world is this planet going through such an upheaval, catastrophically, for storms and and tornadoes and floods and landslides and fires. The earth is responding to your attitude and to your spirit. If you are confused and violent, and the earth feels that and was trying to, it's like having an itch, and the earth is trying to scratch. It's trying to get rid of you because this is a living, breathing entity. The earth has been here for millions of years, and it has gotten rid of a lot of societies that have threatened its very existence. And right now, we are threatening the planet, and the planet is responding. And if we said this way back in the 60s, everything is everything. Everything is connected. Everything you say and breathe and do affects the earth and is felt throughout the rest of the universe.
And that's amazing, but that's real. That's real talk.
Over 1,000 miles a second, your voice travels. Do you think it stops at somebody else's ears? It travels all through the universe, and the universe hears your cries. And it's all negative vibes. And the negative vibes come back to you, and it affects the earth. That's why you get floods. That's why you get tornadoes. Because you are out of order. And spiritually, so that matters because everything is connected. Everything is everything.
Yeah, that's why all these pandemics and all, I guess, too.
Exactly.
You got all this.
But we used to believe that back in the 60s. We were always searching our mind to find out how it's connected to the rest of the universe. We were like the song says, check out your mind. You might find what you're looking for.
Yeah.
But it's all in your mind because your mind is connected to the rest of the universe. We've gotten away from that, and it's costing us dearly.
Yeah.
And the planet is responding.
Yes.
To that lack of attention.
Yes, and it's really and truly when you look at it, the whole everything is it's scary. It really is. It's something that you have to really understand the magnitude of what is really happening. And like I said, what's happening? What's going on? You know, in my song, you know. Yeah, so you
what
know,
the heck is going on?
I'm taking note, and you want my vote? It ain't gonna happen.
That's right.
So we've got to work diligently to getting it together. That has always been my thought and something that I want to work on and look at doing for the homeless, because it is something that whenever I think about America and supposed to be the country, you know, it just to see anyone on the street going in garbage cans and eating up off the ground and even picking up cigarette butts. I mean, you don't need to be doing smoking anyway, but if that's what calms your nerves or whatever, to have to pick up a cigarette butt and all of that off the ground, and it's just it's heartbreaking to me. And when
it'll get better. Unfortunately, it's gonna get worse before it gets better, but it will get better.
Yeah,
because once
well, if things are to change, we have to change, and that
right.
comes, like I say, in what's going on. But it has to be a mindset.
Starting with you.
Yeah, yeah. So we hope that you have enjoyed or gotten something out of our segment. Here's the Life with Zemrah and Ed. Again, we always hope that we bring you something just to kind of think about and take a second look at, because we are people that are very empathetic, very caring, very loving, and very thought provoking. We think about things. We try to move on things. It doesn't always go like we might want it to, but again, like I always say, when you embrace life, life embrace you back. So we have to really, you know, we don't always want to think that we, you know, if you see someone homeless, we don't always want to think that it's got to be game, because it doesn't always have to be.
No,
but right. One thing about it, if it is game, then that is on that person. But, you know, think about it. And a lot of times you are fearful, because nowadays a woman doesn't need to open up her purse. You know, I might say, well, no, you know, I got tickled one day. I was in the store, and this brother told me, he said, can I borrow $1 from you? So I waited until he walked back away, and then I went in my purse and got the dollar out. I didn't let him see me going in my wallet or any of that. I took the dollar out and I took it over there too. We was in the store and he didn't have enough to finish paying his bill. So I said, now you said you was gonna borrow this dollar. You
How you gonna
he had to
find me?
laugh himself. But anyway, I handed it to him. So you don't want to be free, that free where you just open up your purse or you open up your wallet or whatever. But if you feel the need to give a couple of dollars to someone that you can kind of feel that they're struggling or whatever, do that, because the blessings that you are bestowed, later on down the line or whatever, you'll be blessed by doing it. And if they're not legit in it, then that's on them. But I know I feel better when I can give a couple of dollars to somebody.
You empathize with everybody.
Well, that's what. Well,
That's okay. It's okay.
yeah, that's my heart. My brother talks about me with, yeah, and you all, Pam even says it, but hey, that's me. That's who I am. And
You do you, baby.
and that's what I'm always do. I'm spiritual, so I'm not stupid. I'm not docile. If I feel it, I'll do it. My spirit does not direct me. If I don't feel it, then I won't. Like I said, I'm not crazy. I'm not docile. But if I feel the need to do that, that's what I'm going to do, because that's my soul. That's who I am.
Well, be aware and know everybody out there in the internet land and watching us today, that the world starts with you. When you change, your world changes.
Yeah, and it changes within you.
Not with your neighbor, not with your parents, and not with your friends that are doing you wrong. It starts with you.
That's right.
So when you change, the world will change.
That's right. It all comes.
Might not happen when you want to, but it's always right on time.
That's the truth. And on that note, I want you to make sure that you stay close by, stay still, because Tyrone is coming with his message today just for you on Frontline. So make sure you stay tuned and check them out. We are here at Intellectual Radio every Tuesday at 6 o'clock, and hope you join us. We've got Dr. Yvonne Gilly Wallace. She's going to be joining us in September with more information about what they're doing with the initiative with the veterans, which they are doing an awesome job. And then we're going to have the Bobbitts back talking about money. And of course, Pam will be joining us every first Tuesday talking about relationships.
Pam who?
Miss Pamela Welks. And she'll be talking about relationships. And it's all relationships, friendships, man and woman. And then we're going to have a couple of people to join us next month and talk about a couple of men. I want a couple of men to join us, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. So you have a good evening. Make sure you like us on Facebook. Keep liking my music, Love is Possible, and know that love is possible. Don't give up on love, because it is truly someone for everyone. Again, stay tuned for Tyrone and Frontline. You have a wonderful, wonderful evening.
And as always, I'd like to thank Earl and Rhonda for providing this magnificent facility, allowing me to be myself again.
On that note, have a wonderful night.